Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI here at Nola Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm your coach for PRI, Rick Gailey, along with Renee Nato, our Prep Recruiting Insider. And we are joined today by the head football coach of the McDonogh 35 Ron Eagles, Coach Wayne Reese, one of the great men in the business. Coach Reese, welcome to Prep Recruiting Insider. We're so happy you could be with us today.
And thank you for having me on the show today.
Wayne, you started way back, I'm letting a secret out, 1970 back in McDonogh. And you know, every male and female can't play sports.
Right.
But there's a value to sports. It's not about just performing on the field. It's a life lesson, isn't it?
Well, it teaches you discipline. It teaches you team sport, individual sports. It teaches so many things that just regular life would not teach you. And if you have the right coaches and the right people involved, it's going to teach you something that's going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah, it certainly teaches you what you can't learn in the classroom. You can learn facts in the classroom, and they're trying to get into critical thinking areas, and that's all fine. But the practical application of that education is accentuated by athletics. That's why, Wayne, I'm in complete agreement with you here. I believe that athletics is not extracurricular. It's an integral part of education, isn't it?
Well, it helps you to grow. In athletics, it's just like the classroom. You think, you got critical thinking and stuff that you do with sports. And if you're a guy that cannot think and do the things that you need to do, you won't be a good athlete. You just be a part of the program. But a guy that can think and a good athletic ability, the world is just in his hand or her hand to a certain point.
You've seen the recruiting process come full circle. And it's not what it was back in 1970. It wasn't what it is 1980 and 1990. But how involved are you in the recruiting process? I know you don't tell a young man or young lady where to go, but how involved are you, and how much do you keep track of it?
Well, look, I got a thing that I usually do with my kids when they're recruited by coaches. I tell them one thing: you got to look where you fit. It's not where, the big time, you see what they say, this school is bigger than that school and stuff like that. I always tell a kid, if I can fit in that program, that's the program that I should go to. It's not because you have a big name or something like that. It's where that kid fits, because you can get a good athlete and he doesn't fit that program. He's just there because he's a good athlete. He's really not going to do well. So I give him that point, but I would never tell him, well, you need to go here, or need to go there. But your chances are better going to one of the other schools that fit what you do and the need of the kid at that school.
And your niche, when you came out of high school, was at a small school.
Tennessee State.
That had a bunch of really good players. Give us some of your remembrances, because you've made a good life out of that education that you got at Tennessee State.
Well, I tell you, I went to Xavier Prep. It's now an all-girls school. Back in, I finished 1965. And the thing that really helped me, was my nuns that was at that school. I went to a small school, Tennessee State University in Nashville. But in that environment, we had a whole lot of guys that came from large cities or little towns and stuff like that, had a whole lot of ability. But I tell you what, the coaches and stuff really worked with you to make sure that you did that you was in a position where you could produce in the classroom, on the field, and things. And look, it was a great experience for me to witness a whole lot of those things. Guys like Claude Humphrey, Jim Marcellus, and all those guys, just Hall of Fame guys that was on the same team with me. And look, it did so much for you to be around a person or people that really understood and did the things that you need to do to make you a better person on the field and off the field.
You've coached a lot of people, Wayne, but a couple of names that are quickly recognizable: Marshall Folk, and Delvin Breaux. And what makes those two guys special?
Well, they were great kids. They were great kids, like some of the kids we got here today. Those kids would listen. Everything you would say, they would do everything that you told them to do. Just go back in days when I had Marshall. back during that time, the ACT wasn't a big deal, but you had to have certain points and stuff to get in school. Marshall, they had this ACT study that we had never heard of. I said, Marshall, you need to take this class to make yourself a better person, so you can make sure you can make a high enough score so you can get into any university in the country. He did that. You know, this guy would come by, Marshall used to come by in the evening, in the morning, on Sundays, and do a little extra work. He's the kind of guy, you know, this guy. Same thing with Delvin. Delvin broke his neck. Broke his neck. People don't know that he broke his neck that year. He ran on the 4x4 relay team in Baton Rouge, and they won it. His brother Lionel was a better track guy than he was, but Delvin was a determined kid, and when he broke his neck, LSU still honored his scholarship. He went to LSU. He was so frustrated because they got guys like Peters that played with the Cardinals and stuff. He was just as good or better, but by him breaking his neck, he never got the chance that he needed to prove himself, because I could understand the university, they didn't want that suit if something had to happen to Delvin. But Delvin was a determined kid, and just like the kids we got right now. I got a whole lot of kids right now fit the same mold that Delvin, Bro fit, Marshall Falk fit, and we are really fortunate to have those kids in what they call a public school that do the things that they're doing right now.
And that's the difference between good and great, the ability to be coachable, to take instruction and put it into play. We see that so many times. The best players are the ones who are most coachable, Wayne.
Well, you know, you got those kids that, those humble kids. There's those humble kids that will listen to you and follow what you say do. And those are the type of kids that you can look years afterward that really made it big or did the things they do. Say like some kids I got some kids that go academics, but through football he was noticeable in everything, so he got a chance to move on to the next level.
In the last minute and a half, Wayne, I know a lot of people are putting a hat on you and expecting you to be in that big building downtown in Poydras. Why can this team make it that far, and why is this a special group to you?
Well, yeah, we got so many kids that's been with us a long time, like Cy Martin and Sidney, and Darius May. Those guys been with us a long time. And when you get kids that really listen and do the things you want them to do, see, they're just like almost a part of you. They can think almost like you can, and they know what to do, how to do it, and everything. That's what makes this team a little special. And everything. We just got some kids that have been with us a long time, and I really think that they're just as good and coachable as any kids that I ever had in the state of Louisiana right now. So I look around and see, and our chances are great this year. Barring no injuries and stuff, and we stay healthy, I think we can make a good run.
And it's shown up this year because you took your lumps last year with a young team, but they have bounced back. You have a meet left with a 7-1 record you have so far. You have a meet left on the road, and that Edna Carr to finish out the district season and then on into the playoffs. Future looks good for Wayne Reese and the Huron Eagles.
Yeah, I tell you it does. And the thing about it is that just like a guy like Sidney, you know, Sidney stuck with us and we stuck with Sidney, and Sidney became one of those quarterbacks that people looks at and things that, you know, like at the next level, they always tell a kid at the next level, see, but this kid can play more than one position. This kid can play more than one sport and everything. But this kind of kid that fits in our program. Cy Martin fits in our program. Darius May, they fits in our program, and they was the kind of kids that, you know, do the things that you need to do. Especially like the Darius, he's an exciting kid to watch run the football. The other night, when he had, 6 touchdowns, 340 some yards and stuff. That's the kind of kids that work on the things they need to work on.
Well, thank you, Coach Reese. We appreciate you being here with us today. And we got some of those athletes you were just talking about coming up right after this break. We're in the Speed Shop with some of the greatest cars you have ever seen in your life. And the event center for your special event is right next door. We'll be back with some Ron Eagles right after this timeout.